The late Matthew Perry was very open about his journey to sobriety. There were relapses, stints in rehab, and low points. But the actor came out on the other side and sought to help people recover like he did before his untimely death. Perry lived up to his career commitments and appeared in every single episode of Friends, but he was struggling behind the scenes. Although he insists he was never high at work, he did admit to people in 2013 that he was often painfully hungover on set. Then eventually things got so bad I couldn't hide it, and everybody knew. It may have seemed like Perry had it all, but due to his alcoholism, he admitted he was very lonely. He started drinking before Friends, but Perry explained that it's a disease that only gets progressively worse. When Perry was cast on Friends, he was just 24, and in the 10 years he was on the show, he entered rehab twice. In 1997 to battle his addiction to alcohol and prescription medication, and then again in 2001 for alcohol as well as Vicodin, methadone, and amphetamines. He told BBC Radio 2 in 2016 that he couldn't choose a favorite Friends episode because he couldn't remember some of those years. When ABC News showed Perry a Friends clip in 2022, he remarked about himself at the time.
That's a guy that's out of control.
Following his second rehab stint, Matthew Perry sat down for a candid 2002 interview with People, in which he revealed his addiction had gotten to a point where he was taking around 30 pills a day and ingesting a quart of vodka. He recalled a 1997 jet ski accident that put Vicodin in his hands for the first time, and admitted, "From the start, I liked how it made me feel, and I wanted to get more." He began shedding weight, and by 2000, he said he was often sleepy and shaking at work. While he conceded he wasn't healthy, Perry was adamant that he would never abuse any substances while on the clock. He told the New York Times in 2002, "I had this odd rule that I would never drink on a set, but I went to work in extreme cases of hangover." Perry said he would feel himself detoxing on set. In 1997, when he was 28, Matthew Perry entered rehab for the first time. He explained to People that he did a 28-day stint in Minnesota's Hazelden Rehab Center. 3 years later, he relapsed, despite pleas from his loved ones. Perry said, "You can't tell anyone to get sober. It has to come from you." Case in point, when he spent 2 weeks in a hospital in 2000 to treat pancreatitis, which can be caused by alcohol abuse, that wasn't enough to get Perry to seek help. The breaking point came on February 23, 2001, while the actor was shooting Serving Sarah in Dallas. Perry told the New York Times, "I was in fear of losing my life. I didn't get sober because I felt like it. I got sober because I was worried I was going to die the next day." The actor called his parents, flew back to LA immediately, and spent the next 2.5 months at a rehab center.
You kind of instantly prioritize. I'm not going to be able to be in movies. I'm not going to be on the show and have a life unless I fix this problem.
While overcoming his own demons, Matthew Perry decided to use his experiences to help others. He told People in 2013, "The interesting reason that I can be so helpful to people now is that I screwed up so often. It's nice for people to see that somebody who once struggled in their life is not struggling anymore." Perry actually turned his Malibu beach home into a men's sober living facility called Perry House. Working with addiction specialist Earl Hightower, he began helping recovered addicts get back on their feet. In 2015, The Hollywood Reporter noted that he had to move the facility out of Malibu because it was too expensive, but he was determined not to close. Perry said, "I'm keeping the business going because I like it. It's a good way to help alcoholics."
The best thing about me is I can help people if they ask me to.
In 2013, Perry visited the White House to weigh in on then-President Barack Obama's drug policy reform plan. In a blog post for the White House website, he wrote that drug courts could help break the cycle of arrest and incarceration for people with addictions and instead help them recover.
You just see miracles happen.
Perry was also a spokesperson for the National Association of Drug Court Professionals and raised more than $45 million for the cause, according to Patch. He's testified before Congress on more than one occasion, including in 2013 when he strongly urged the U.S. House of Representatives to allocate $45 million for drug courts and $4 million for veterans treatment courts. In 2013, when Perry was honored by Barack Obama administration's Office of National Drug Control Policy with the Champion of Recovery Award for providing a voice to those in recovery, Perry told The Hollywood Reporter it was a surreal moment, adding, "During my darkest times, I never could have imagined receiving an award at the White House." In 2015, Phoenix House, a nonprofit that helps with drug and alcohol rehabilitation, gave him the Phoenix Rising Award for his advocacy, as well as for his work with Perry House. However, as he told The Hollywood Reporter, it's never been about the accolades. Calling the notion of being rewarded silly, he added, "I'm an award-winning alcoholic, I guess. I shouldn't be getting an award. Phoenix House should be getting an award." Matthew Perry's 2022 memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing, shed more light on his struggles with addiction. He told People, "I wanted to share when I was safe from going into the dark side again. I had to wait until I was pretty safely sober and away from the active disease of alcoholism and addiction to write it all down. I was pretty certain that it would help people if I did."
Since 2001, I've basically been sober with, a lot of accidents along the way.
In the book, Perry described serious medical complications that resulted from his substance abuse. In 2018, he suffered a burst colon, underwent several stomach surgeries, briefly went on life support, and spent 2 weeks in a coma. Perry wrote that waking up from a coma with a colostomy bag was the turning point where he decided he didn't want OxyContin anymore. The Friends actor seemed to finally be in a healthy place, but sadly, tragedy struck on October 28, 2023. The actor tragically died in an apparent drowning accident in his jacuzzi at his home.